expressed on this program are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of Vegas AllNet Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.
You have me on. Hey, we have a new person in today. It's not just me that's new. It's an all-new show here on Vegas AllNet Radio. I'm Holly, and you are listening to Good Medicine. And go ahead and keep that track running because this is a really good song. It's a fight song. And today we're talking about depression. So you would think that it is going to be a depressing show, but no, it's going to be a song of hope, of fighting, giving someone some inspiration to keep on keeping on. I'm Holly Davis. I'm a licensed counselor here in Las Vegas, and I'm actually a radio junkie. I used to do radio when I was 18 years old. I started in radio at a college radio station. Who let me on the radio at 18? I'm not really, you know who you are. But, it's been something that has fascinated me and I've enjoyed thoroughly. And so Good Medicine is a little offspring of that. Now I've grown up a little and I have a master's degree in mental health counseling and I have a specialization in forensics, and that's criminal behavior. All this stuff sounds quite depressing, doesn't it? I also specialize with crisis and trauma. I thoroughly enjoy working with children. I like working with the most troubled children. If they're troubled, all the better. Bring them to me, and not very many people ask for that, do they? I don't think that there's a child who is out there who can't be helped, who cannot be treated. If you have hope, you have everything. And I do believe that any treatment that you get therapeutically with a counselor, there is a very good likelihood that you will get better. 86% chance. Those are good odds, right? I mean, we're in Las Vegas. Those are pretty good odds that if you go to get help, that you can be treated without medication. I'm not a medical doctor. However, I recommend if you are feeling depressed, and we're going to go over that today, what is depression? If you're feeling depressed, what we need to do is work together, and then after 12 weeks, if you're not feeling better, if you're not feeling better after 2 or 3 weeks, go to your primary care physician. Then go to a psychiatrist. Get a second opinion. I think second opinions are very valuable. Third opinion, and find out if you need to be treated further, because depression can be mild, moderate, or so severe, in fact, that it can cause you to have psychotic episodes, which is hearing things, seeing things, being paranoid. It can, if you don't treat depression, it can get bad. And so that's what we're here today to do, is to talk about depression. What is it? How do I know if I'm depressed? And the main thing is, of course, we want to give you hope and treatment. My number is 702-626-9400. If you feel like that's you need help. Listen further on today. I'm joined with Ricky Cash. Mr. Cash, how you doing today?
I am very good.
What do you think about depression? I know you're just waiting. Well, this has got to be exciting.
I speak from personal experience, which we'll go over later, but I know that it's debilitating, and
Absolutely.
To me, that's the thing that's really scary about it, because you could be a genuinely good, nice, wonderful person who happens to be depressed and becomes so debilitating that you cannot function normally in the environment that you choose to be in. And you're right when you say that treatment is the answer. No question about it. I have a dear friend who suffers from depression, and I can't get him into any type of treatment program because he says the reason he's depressed is because he's unhappy.
Hello. There's something to that. We're actually going to talk about that. What are the reasons why people are depressed? Who's depressed? Mostly women. Mainly women are affected by depression, but men, women, and children. Even toddlers. It can be as young as toddlers get depressed. However, this show is not going to be melancholy at all in nature. It's going to be very uplifting. I want to talk to you a little bit more about myself, that I am not a medical doctor. Okay, my advice is my professional opinion, and it is my personal opinion. And I do have a lot of experience with depression in my family, and with the people that I work with. I see it every single day, and I know that it is treatable. I know that there's hope, and I know that there is help available. Good Medicine, the reason why the show is called Good Medicine is not because I'm a good doctor. However, I'm working on my PhD. I'd like to be a doctor someday. Does that sound good?
It
Dr. Davis.
It has a nice ring to it.
I like it. It's a journey of self. It's really about achieving it and doing it. And anything that is worth having is going to take a little work. And it's the same with depression. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some treatment. Those people that are sitting there that you wish would get off the couch and make that call, they have to do it. They have to do the work. Okay? You can't just blame other people. I'm unhappy because you made me unhappy. You made me unhappy. My family made me unhappy. I'm unhappy with myself. There's a million reasons why people have depression. We're going to go into that. Some clear signs if, yes, you are depressed. However, not being a medical doctor, but being a counselor, I feel like the word therapy and counseling still has a stigma. People still kind of get scared, and we're kind of in the dark ages when it comes to depression or talking about these deep things. This really is the stuff that we don't talk about every day. We don't talk about it in the local bar. We don't talk about it in church. We don't talk about it in schools. We just don't talk about this. You don't see that, there's no commercials in the Super Bowl for Prozac, okay?
There should be.
Viagra's there, but Prozac's not. I'm not really sure. I just know that there is a stigma to having depression makes you crazy, makes you weird, makes you strange.
Well, it labels you.
Labels you.
And the labeling is something that people shy away from. They shy away from telling other people, friends, family that they're in therapy because, oh, you're in therapy, you must be nuts. That kind of thing. So, people are very apt to stay away from that, even people who know they need help. But, of course, the key to getting help and getting any type of results from that help is to admit you have a problem. And, I know in other areas, not necessarily depression, but people will not admit that they have a problem because they don't believe it.
Well, and belief means that you've actually had to take a moment to assess the situation. Who likes to look into the murky waters of self? Who likes a mirror? I know people are really into selfies and they like looking in the mirror, but I'm talking about really taking the mask down and really looking at yourself. And I ask people to do that all the time. And boy, that is really scary. When I have to do that for myself and my own motives and my own life and my own emotions, it's really scary. It's not something that everybody does. And I really am a big fan of doing that. I think that we really need to look deeper into our relationships, into our careers, into our families, family history, cycles, and really analyze the situation. It's really easy to just zone out, escape, not admit. Well, first of all, most people don't even know that there is a problem. How do you know when you're depressed? I just want to say that the reason why this program is called Good Medicine is because all of the therapy that I do, books, blogs, all the work of my hands, its name is Good Medicine Ranch, and I have a website called www.Good Medicine Ranch. And Good Medicine Ranch is just an ethereal place, but it was named after a Potawatomi ancestor of mine, and her name was Darling Woman Good Medicine, and I do that to honor her. So that's why the program is called Good Medicine. And I believe that when you assess and you look at your life and you do something, you work to make change, there's no better good medicine. I couldn't have said that better.
No, it's really true. Anytime you can get relief and start on a new path, wherever that came from, that's good medicine. I think it's a very simple concept. It makes a lot of sense.
Word. Okay. Moving on. All right. I definitely want to help anybody who's out there, and I want to give my number again. And then I want you to get a pen and paper, and I want you to write some of these things down. And if there's other people, get your pen and paper. If there's other people out there who you believe to have depression, have them listen or give them a copy of the show. You can go back to Vegas All Net Radio and get them a copy of the show. It's videotaped as well, so you can see and hear. You can go to my website, goodmedicineranch.com. You can go to Vegas All Net Radio and go to Good Medicine. And you can also go to my Facebook page, and I'll also post it there. It's called Good Medicine, one word. So please give this information, this good medicine, to other people that you know need it. It's probably not for you.
No, of course not.
However, if you know anybody who's depressed, and we'll get an accurate accurate description of what depression is, please let them know. Get them some help. Wouldn't you want to help somebody if you knew they needed it? That's my nature. If there's people who need help, I want to help them. Also, you can call in here. We're open to taking calls, aren't we?
Absolutely.
702-483-4444. Now, before you call and say, hey, do I have depression? I want to let you know that there's hope. There is treatment, and depression is treatable. The bed. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You know what, Ryan? You're the best. I want to say thank you to our production here, crew. They're the best.
They are good.
JPEG, Ryan. Anyway, so I know some answers. I know some answers to depression. How do you know that you're depressed? We know women are depressed. We know men get depressed. We know that older Americans really suffer from depression, and it's not just America. This is a worldwide. I don't know if it's a pandemic or if it's worse than it's ever been. We're kind of at an age of melancholy. A lot of people are very down. I think a lot of people mask it quite well. However, really, depression is if you're irritable, if you're grouch, if you snap real easy at people, or you flip somebody off and you go, why did I do that? I would never do that. I would never do that. If you do things like that, if you snap at a colleague or somebody at the grocery store, and you go, why did I do that? That's just not me. When you're just not yourself, when things are not normal, if you do a check-in on your behavior and you realize that most of the day you're pretty down, you're pretty miserable most of the day. And this is not just for one day. Could be for a couple days, for a couple weeks. And really, it's severe if you find that most of your days within this last year have been mostly down, mostly miserable, and you're just not able to get your mood elevated, that is severe. That is severe depression. So a lot less happiness, much more misery. And what is the source of misery? That woman, that man, the dog, the grocery store clerk didn't give me my coupon. What are some of the things that you hear? I'm just not happy. Yeah,
you hear that the blame is never to self. It's always something else is causing your problem. Your financial problem, well, the boss didn't pay me right, or whatever the case may be. You'll find that people who are depressed, who don't know they're depressed, are always blaming somebody or something else for what's going on in their lives. Seen it so many times.
I agree. We blame others, and then we blame the environment. We're on a nuclear test site down the road, or we live in Las Vegas, and there's so much gambling and so much isms and vices. I'm sure that's the problem. It's this town. We live in the desert. There's not enough green.
Right.
There's not enough rain. That's what it is.
It doesn't rain enough?
It doesn't rain. Too much sunshine. That's got to be what it is. The temperature
and actually it works the other way around, because weather-wise, right, in the winters up north and places like that, the depression during the winter, because there's not enough light. So
seasonal depression. It's true. That really does happen.
It's out there.
So getting some vitamin D in good, healthiness, not with balance, it does help.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the tanning salon.
No, spray tan, no bueno either.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know, but there's toxins. Is it our leadership? It's our president.
Oh, it's always blame the president.
Poor guy. I mean, he gets the blame for everything, right? Is it our McMeals? The food that we have.
Oh, food is killing us.
The food.
It's getting me depressed just thinking about it.
That French fry is just bringing me down, right? and is it because we don't go out there and put our hands to the wheel and get into the dirt and plant our own food and take the time to really prepare? I understand that now meal preparation is 3 minutes to 30 minutes versus 3 hours that it used to be in the 50s.
Wow, that's incredible. And of course, who has time to exercise and help themselves? Too busy. Work is too hard, strenuous. I'm too tired at night. It's too early in the morning. Again, the excuses are like, that's your pandemic. Excuses. I've never heard so many people have so many excuses for things that they should be doing that they're not doing. And then what's the next step? They're depressed.
And we've heard it time and time again. There's been so many studies, so much research done on our environment, eating clean, living clean, and thinking healthy, positive. We're going to take a break. And we're going to come back and I'm going to give you some true blue signs that you know that you're depressed, and it'll be up to you to call and get help. And if you want some help, I can give you my number, 702-626-9400. If you want to call into the show, it's 702-483-4444. We'll be back with Good Medicine in a minute. I'm Counselor Holly Davis, joined by Mr. Ricky Cash. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. It's always, I've been waiting to come on the show. You had both my partners. You had Aaron Phillips the first week and John Stiles, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I, chopped liver here?
Aww.
And then last week I was really excited because I was going to get here bright and early, and I see a handful of guests coming in. I had to walk back to my office, depressed.
I know why you're depressed. It's okay.
It's all right then, right?
You're not going to be depressed anymore after today's program.
There
I
you go.
assure you.
I love it.
Depression. What is depression? It sounds like a depressing topic, but it's actually going to be very hopeful for those of you who are suffering with depression. What is depression? How do I know that I'm depressed? And who's to blame for my depression? Well, a lifestyle and diet, of course, has a lot to do with it. Stomach, the gut has more neurotransmitters than even the brain. And the gut could even just be that guttural instinct. So sometimes if you have stomach aches or headaches or you're irritable or you have irritable bowel syndrome, up to 90% of the people who have irritable bowel syndrome are also depressed. And so people go to the doctor because they have chronic headaches or chronic pain. And really, it could be stemmed for a somatic symptom, which is actually depression. So when people come in and they tell me they're depressed, I also ask them, have you done a total physical checkup with your medical doctor, your primary medical doctor? How are your hormones? How's your thyroid? Do you drink water? You'd be amazed in the Mojave Desert, some people who drink just sodas, and that's nothing but sugar, and it's more dehydrating, or alcohol. I just drink alcohol, and alcohol is a depressant, and it dehydrates you.
You have to have a minimum of 8 8-ounce glasses of water per day in order to keep the body naturally hydrated.
Tell it.
And then when you live here in this town
You have to.
and you don't, and then you wonder why you don't feel well, it's like, hello, did you
nailed it.
get the message?
It's true. It's absolutely true. If you are thirsty right now, if you are thirsty, you are dehydrated. So you have to remain hydrated and make sure that you are drinking water. Some of the other things too, diet and lifestyle. Do you get enough sleep? Are you making sure that you get enough sleep? Do you have enough regimen in your life? Are you glued to the video games and to the Facebook and to your computer or to the phone all day long? I mean, what a stressor, and can be depressing too, especially, that's your environment. So we know that it is internal and external that causes depression. So if my environment is depressing, something that we talked about last week is tidying up can be a miraculous thing. Tidying up your environment and getting it all cleaned and tidy and organized will help a lot. If you're like me and you're just running in at 5 till, not that I did that today
No,
or
of
anything
course
like that.
not.
But sometimes, that right there, that environment, those stressors, it can be also anxiety, causes us to get down. It causes us to be depressed.
Do you not believe that the more functions that these phones are getting, the almost ability to do just about everything on your phone will be ultimately another major cause of depression?
It has to be. It has to be. The technology, the computers, the telephone. How do we really know? Is there any research that's done that just even the telephone on your body, people put it in their pocket and in their shirt or wear it in their on their you have one of those, what are those, fanny pack? Do you have a fanny pack?
No, I'm trying to quit.
Oh gosh, you don't strike me as a fanny pack.
No,
man.
definitely not.
Those things are not passé. People still use them. Put their phone in there and put their man stuff, right?
Yeah.
And women too.
Runners do that. You see people that run, they have a little fanny pack and they have their essentials in there.
Their stuff, which is a phone. You can't leave. You can't even go take out the trash without your phone. You don't know if you'll miss a call. You can't go for a walk. It's bad when you're on the beach with the phone. That's when you go, you know what, this is absurd.
Throw it in the ocean,
Put the phone down, and I can almost personally guarantee you will feel much better. Mucho mejor. Mucho. put the phone down. And here's another one, if I may, while we're on this rant, and then I'll get right back to symptoms.
Okay.
But I can, because
it's your show.
I can.
Right.
I like that. If you want to take your children to the park because maybe Junior's a little irritable, throwing tantrums, it could be signs that he or she has depression, because that's how children tell us what's going on with them, is their behavior. Same with you. I know when you're irritable, when you have things going on, there could be some depression, some underlying reason why. The moon, the stars, the atmosphere, too much phone, I don't know. But take your kid to the park, and let me ask you, could you get off the phone while you're at the park with your child? Why do you have to swing your child with the phone in your hand? Put it down and listen to the child, or talk to the child, or just be with the child without the phone. It is infuriating. Sometimes I just want to go and
smack some people around.
no, if I could do that, or tell them to, put the phone down or throw the phone. That is actually a serious infraction if you throw somebody's phone or break somebody's phone. I want to say that it is a...
Is it like assault?
It's some kind of assault or some kind of... I'm not sure. It's really bad. It's really bad battery.
Battery.
It's bad. So don't do that.
Well, what if you take the battery out of the phone? Is that battery, or is that
Sure.
not a battery?
But I'm not sure, but I do want to tell people, just take the phones down when you're at dinner with your peeps. When you're with your people, when you're with peeps, yes, your people. When you're with your family and your friends, put the phone down, and especially when you're driving or texting. Nothing makes me more...
Well, I remember the not when my kids were growing up, and now I see it with my grandchildren. If they're of age to have no phones at the table, parents, nobody can have a phone there. They have to be shut off. Got to eat a meal. Got to have conversation. Have to communicate.
I think that's really important. My 3-year-old, we were at a stoplight the other day, and he rolled down his window because this girl was on the phone, and she was kind of weaving. I go, she's on her phone. And so at the stoplight, he's 3, like I said, and he even knows. He rolls down the window. He goes, hey, lady, get off your phone. And she was so embarrassed. She kind of pulled back and wouldn't kind of drive by us. But I thought it was quite adorable. He's so cute. So how do I know that that I'm depressed listening to the show? One, I know that I'm depressed for sure. We're here to give you hope, because really depression, it comes from major stressors in life, and we're going to go over some of those things. But really, for me, when you are not interested in the things that you used to be interested in, that is a huge sign that something is wrong. When you don't have the want to want to, if you're a talker and a yapper and you don't want to talk to your friends, that might be a clue for you. If you love to drive and listen to your music loud and it's off, and you realize that you missed your turn, and the phone stresses you out and you're almost in tears, and that's a clue for you that there is some depression. So not interested in the things that you are normally interested in is a huge one. Weight gain, weight loss. If we are eating too much or not eating at all, and you normally can finish that McMeal in, have 2 of those McMeals in no time, no problem, then that might be a sign for you that there's something wrong. What about sleep? If you are not sleeping, if you have insomnia, of course that's a sign of anxiety as well. You can't stop your thoughts. But if you are sleeping the day away and don't want to get up out of bed, and you don't want to take a shower, that's also a big sign, is hygiene. If you're not flossing every day, brushing your teeth. I floss every day. I just got to say that. Hey, dentist, how you doing out there? My dentist's going to be very happy. Flossing, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, taking a shower, using deodorant. I mean, you'd think that those things are just,
Acts of daily living.
Rudimentary regimen, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. When you don't feel well, you're not going to get up and take a shower. And I'm here to tell you today, get up, take a shower, do the things that you don't have the want to. That's a part of the fight. That's why we have a fight song on today. Get up and fight and do it. It's easy to lay down and die. It's easy to lay down and quit. And I'm saying don't. Do not do that. That's when you know that you're depressed, when you don't want to go on. When you're having those feelings of, I can't make it. I can't go on. This is too big. And most of the time, that is really an irrational thought. It could be $100 that you're short. $100 that you're short on your rent. I mean, rent's coming up for everybody. We all feel the financial strains right now. It's harder to make money in this country right now, and it's harder to keep money in this country and maintain a healthy, easy livelihood. I think a lot less than say even in the 50s. It was easy for most people. You didn't even have to have a major education and skills in labor. You could make a living and make money and have food on the table, and it's a little more difficult now. And so that's a huge stressor. $100 is really going to stress you out that bad. There's no solutions. There's no one you can ask. There's nothing you can do. I mean, those are the thoughts that we get. Or I'm 50 cents short, or my account is overdrawn, or I'm not making my quota for this month. I didn't have enough.
And then they say to themselves, this is no way to live. And then you know, wow, this person is really depressed. Because depression, obviously, in its worst form, will definitely lead to self-destructive acts.
Absolutely, and the irrational thoughts that are behind it. In my Facebook page, Good Medicine, there's one of the best depictions of depression that I've ever seen. It's this girl sitting in the corner. You can't see her face. Her hair is down, and she's not looking, and she's in this very, very dark room, and she's isolated and withdrawn, which is another huge symptom of depression. As I'm bailing, I'm leaving, I'm going to run away and hide. And there's all these monsters in the shadow. And real or perceived, the battle is real. And whether people are hearing things, seeing things, have real monsters, real battles, or if it's just $100, it is really not the end of the world, and you can break through. You can overcome. It is totally treatable. Staying in that room and being alone is one of the biggest signs and one of the worst things that I think that you can do, especially for children. When they shut the door and they don't want to talk to you, or if your family members that are usually chatty and they're out and about and they don't come out of their room for days, that's a clear sign of depression. Something's wrong when you withdraw and when you're isolated. Also, if you're slow and lethargic, you just can't seem to get out of bed. It takes a few cups of coffee. You gotta hitch and you get along. It's a little harder to get going. The motivation and the inspiration, because we're just people, is just not there. And that over a prolonged period of time is depression. Or how about this? You're really speedy. You can't wait to get out of here. You're restless. You're fidgety. You want to get out. That is also another sign of depression. So being slow or speedy, restless or lethargic. These are some of the ones that I loathe the most. These are ones that really get me. And when people come in and they tell me these things, I can't stand to see another human feel this way. And I think the empathy is there when they tell me, I feel worthless. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Breaks my heart, because I don't see that. I don't see that at all. And really, if they're thinking properly and not with the irrational thoughts that depression brings, they would know that that is not true. And that is a lie. And I tell them all the time, that's not true. Simply just not true. Or they have excessive guilt. They do anything for fun, for pleasure. They smiled today. They sang their rap song to the top of their lungs. Anything that they did, they have intense guilt feelings over. And that is not healthy either. So we're going to talk about a few more symptoms, and then the nice thing is we're going to get into treatment, because there is always hope. If you have hope, you have everything. Depression is treatable when we come back to Good Medicine.
Sounds great.
Good Medicine, that's what you're listening to today. Good Medicine is talking about hope and healing for those who are suffering with the symptoms of depression. And so this program's not going to be melancholy, it's not going to be morose, it's going to be very hopeful for those who do have feelings of worthlessness, lethargy, is that right? Lethargic, restless, losing weight, gaining weight, can't sleep too much, not interested in life. I mean, that right there is your clue. When you're not interested in life and life is not fun anymore, when you don't want to go on, when you are not having fun.
When all you want to do is sit in your closet, you know that there's a problem.
Absolutely. And lay in your bed. Mm-hmm. Or sit in front of the television. Don't, if you get up to go watch television all day, don't think that that's not also a sign of depression. That's zoning out. That is zoning out. And that is what a lot of people do to treat their depression. They'll either drink too much to mask the feelings, or they'll be humorous to mask the feelings of sadness, want to play a lot and escape. They don't want to be home. They can't be alone. That's another sign that you probably have some depression. And some of the other things are you can't concentrate. things are not clear when you have depression. It's very cloudy and you're not grounded. So there's some things blocking your life. And a lot of times depression looks like anger. You know anybody who's really, really angry and they have a chip on their shoulder all the time? Maybe they lost a loved one and that just changed them, who they are. Something happened in their life that was traumatic. And these things are real events. But it's much easier for me to just be angry all the time and have that anger habit than to look down at the depression, to look into the depths of the soul. And that's what psychology is healing the soul. And I'm a counselor and I studied psychology, mental health counseling. And that's what I like doing, is helping people get to the root of the issue, because you really can. You can really discover, why am I depressed? What is going on? Now, I want to say one more thing about depression. And one more symptom about depression that is very serious, and I never take it lightly. If someone tells me I can't go on, I'm overwhelmed, Holly, or thinking about death all the time, that is when I'm always very happy to say, everything that we talk about is confidential unless you say you're going to hurt yourself or someone else, because you can trust me that I'm going to get you the help that you need. I'm not going to let you stay suffering in that suffering spot that you're in. That is suffering to the point of, I don't want to go on. And kids say it, adults say it, and we don't really listen to other people in the conversation. There might be people around us that are depressed all the time, but we don't really take the time to listen for cues like that. Clues are, I just don't want to go on. This isn't working. I want out. Those escape signs. And if someone has thoughts of death, or they have a plan for suicide, to take their life, that is when you can call 911, save your life, save somebody else's life. Let's just cut to the chase. Call 911 if you forget anything about the show, if you have suicide thoughts, if you're that depressed, because it can get that severe.
Or if you know someone.
If you know someone, don't just try to assess the situation, because if they say that they are overwhelmed, you can believe me, they are. So they need to get some help. You can also call and make sure that you get an appointment immediately with a therapist, your medical doctor. With a psychiatrist. My number is 702-62, I can't ever remember my number, 626-9400. I don't call myself, 702-626-9400, and I can help you with making those choices. But if those thoughts are there and you have had a clear plan, if you've had that thought, and if you're a human, you've had that thought, this would just be easier if this all just went away. And that is actually not a solution. It's not an answer. It's more of what we've continued to do to solve the problem of depression, which is escape. And that doesn't work. And I always dangle this carrot. Always. Think about the people around you, how badly that hurts the others around you.
Sure.
There's just no getting over the loss of your future. If you weren't here on this planet, this would be a very, very sad place, because the spot that you are feeling cannot be filled by anyone else but you. You matter. You are important. You're important.
You got to carry around a copy of "It's a Wonderful Life."
I love that movie.
You have to, because
Absolutely.
that is the anti-depression movie.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. It's so sad, and it's like one layer after another of problems. And we as humans, we experience that. It seems like when it comes in waves, when it rains, it pours. When bad things happen, then you stubbed your toe, and then the check didn't show up, and then the kids all need their school stuff today. Not tomorrow, today. No one has their shoes. Somebody got in trouble at school. Someone's making an F.
And you're ready to jump off a bridge. It doesn't make any sense, because there are ways of dealing with it. Because that's one of the things that you're going to talk about.
Well, and it's because it comes in waves. And so one little thing, maybe getting a flat tire is a crisis for you that you may not be able to solve. Really may not have the funds, the wherewithal, the energy. Maybe you're physically ill and you can't make a solution for some problems like that. Maybe for other people, it's they're aging, they're not feeling good, they don't feel as good as they used to, and that kind of problem can cause depression. It definitely finances. If I were to put a finger on the pulse of a lot of depression that I see, it's finances. I mean, that is a killer. It is such a huge problem, and it causes so much stress. And if I can pinpoint a lot of the psychosis that I see, illness that I see, I can pinpoint it to not having enough. It just does something to the human soul, or feeling a perception that you don't have enough. Sometimes it's just a perception that there's not enough here. There's not enough to go around. And that is your world view. That's your thought. That's your perception. And sometimes when you're depressed, they can be completely irrational. And so it's my job to get us back into focus, into center, and get us back to, hey, you know what? It's really not that bad. You are alive. You are still kicking. There's still a possibility for you to overcome these obstacles. It is treatable. You're breathing. You're fortunate enough to have that, and things might have truly been hard, and I'll never take that away from any other human being, but it's not bad enough to take your life, ever. So if that is the case and you feel that way, get help immediately. And once again, if all else fails, call 911, call somebody that you know, or get out of the house and go knock on the neighbor's door if you're literally feeling that overwhelmed, and it happens more than we'd like to talk about every single day. Every single day. And one of the biggest populations are men 17 to 24-year-old. Our boys are one of the highest rates of suicide, including older Americans. Our elderly population are some of the highest suicide rates. I don't want to go on. I can't go on. And so really the message today is there's hope. Keep fighting. Do not give up the fight, because it's a winnable battle. It's a winnable war. And sometimes is it in your head or real things happening? I want to tell you some of the stressors that people go through that will really send a human off the edge here. Death of a spouse, number one, and that's according to the People's Medical Society. Number one is death of a spouse. That is very, very difficult, when two people are one and one leaves before, it's usually something that you'd never thought of, that you never planned on, and it's usually by such a surprise, or even if you knew that your spouse or your partner was ill and they leave this planet, it is wow. Words can't describe it. It's completely and utterly overwhelming, and I understand that. Divorce, and it is rampant, and that's number two. It's rampant in society. Divorce is a huge source of depression. It's like a physical death of something that was happening in your life. So it's very painful.
And those numbers are extremely high. Over 50% of all marriages end in divorce.
Even the separation part is right there at number three. Jail term. Can you imagine how many people are incarcerated right now? Maybe even listening to this program, there are so many people that are incarcerated. Talk about environmental, internal stimuli. You have no freedom. You have nothing but guilt feelings and hopelessness and despair. And treatment, I don't feel in this country, my personal opinion, for those who are incarcerated is not at all where it needs to be, or missing completely. My personal opinion. And I think that if we worked on some type of prevention or even therapy for during and after incarceration, I think we'd see some turnarounds in the neighborhoods, in our communities. I think we'd see less crime and a lot less of most of the people who have been incarcerated have had trauma, have had severe trauma in their life. Something to be said about that. Death of a close family member, illness. When we don't feel good, and you're physically not feeling well, it's hard to have the want to do anything. Work issues, getting fired. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough, no question about it. I mean, your livelihood all of a sudden goes into the toilet, and you have a responsibility, yourself, your family, and the next thing you know, you're looking down a long, long tunnel with no light.
I'm saying keep the light at the end of the tunnel and have hope. And perhaps, I always try to look at the bright side of things and stay positive. And I think that's a key to treating depression, is perhaps you need to be in a better place. Maybe there's a better fit for you, something that's more aligned in your giftings. I'm just saying there's always a better way to look at some of the things that we're going through. And death, even for me, I find that when someone dies, they don't leave forever. They're not gone forever, because we carry those people, especially if we really, really love them and we know those people. And even if it was a distant friend and it makes you sad, you're never going to forget that person. That's your duty, is to leave their mark. That's why good medicine is called good medicine, is because good medicine died without any children. I won't let that happen. We're going to honor that person and their memory and their mark on this planet. It's very important. So, when someone dies, I think that is all of our cue to love the people that are alive, all the more. Love the people. Don't use it as an excuse to not go on, because that's not what your loved one would want from you anyway. It's an excuse to, you know what? Yeah, my kid is I'm gonna stop at the video machine, or yeah, I'm gonna stop at the little machines, that the gumball machines,
Right.
and all the parents are like, no, we're not gonna do that. No, we're gonna stop today and do that. And you want a balloon? Sure, we're gonna get the balloon too. Or we're gonna write a handwritten letter to Auntie that we haven't seen in a while. We're gonna make a call to that friend that we haven't called in a while and say, you know what? There's no reason for me to call you today except for I just called to say I love you. I think that should be a song or something like that. You know, I think
I'll ask my friend Stevie to put something together.
Put something together for us on that one. He came up with it's a pretty brilliant idea. It's just calling people and telling the people that are closest to us how much we appreciate her. When's the last time you just told somebody, I really appreciate you? Somebody could have those thoughts on that particular day, at that time. You know, I need one ray of light somewhere. And you say that thing to that person, you know, I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate what you've done. It could be all the difference in the world.
It's good stuff.
To anyone. I'm not saying that the onus is on you, and especially if someone chooses to commit suicide or chooses to not get help. Okay, that is nothing that you have done to that person in any way, shape, or form. Everybody is responsible for their own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Period. And we can't prevent other people's pain, but we can certainly try not to be causes of pain for other people. And when we do, because we're human, those guilt feelings are things that I know are some of the main sources of depression, and it is treatable. Let's talk about treatment, because we have about 15 minutes left. We're going to go to the break.
About 10.
10?
10.
We're going to take a couple minutes, take a little break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about treatment. We're going to give you some hope for the fight. Don't stop fighting if you have depression. You are listening to Good Medicine. Today we're talking about depression and hope and fighting it. This is our war song. It's a battle cry to don't stop fighting. This is an Eminem song. What is the name of the song? I forgot.
Lose Yourself.
Lose Yourself, and he was a boxer at the time, and I don't know. I didn't actually get this song idea myself. I didn't come up with that. However, I thought it was really pertinent, because this is what fighting depression is about. It is a battle. And so when your gut is saying that there is something wrong, there is help, okay? So some of the main things that I would highly recommend is find a therapist in your area that you have an alliance with, that you trust, that you feel comfortable talking to. If you don't feel comfortable talking to them, next, okay? And perhaps I can help you. You can also go to Psychology Today and .com and find a therapist in your area. You can call me, 702-626-9400, and hopefully I can help you or find somebody that can help you. And don't say, well, I don't have I don't have any money. I don't have insurance. And really, if you are depressed, and some of the symptoms that we talked about, not interested in things, not sleeping, losing weight, life is just not have any happiness, any joy, then you need help. And so for me, therapy is very, it helps. 86% of the people who come in for therapy with depression feel better. Now, it might not be the first time you go. You might not just need one session. It might be 12 times that you might need to see a therapist. If you're not feeling better after seeing a therapist 12 times, and that's just pouring out your guts and talking, and someone listening and caring, and caring about what you have to say, giving you a voice to some of the psychology, healing the soul, some of that pain in the soul. And if you're still not feeling better, and with some of the approaches that we have today, then I would say see your primary doctor and see a psychiatrist. There's a lot of other things that you can do. Be around happy people. Find people that you enjoy being around. If you don't have people in your life that you don't enjoy being around, that's a problem.
Yeah, I think people, especially people who are depressed, tend to gravitate to other people who are depressed, and you've got to stay away from them, because that's bad medicine.
Yeah, misery
Right?
loves company. Maybe you're attracting those
Right.
people into your life that are miserable as well. And finding those people, looking for people that are happy, and having some people on the bat line that you can call when you're feeling down. Call 911 if you're feeling that depressed and overwhelmed that you really feel like you cannot go on. Get the help that you need. Take care of yourself. For Pete's sake, Good Medicine. Take care of yourself. Do some self-care. Take that shower, whether you feel like it or not. There's essential oils out there. The smell of orange is just supposed to be uplifting. There's music that is uplifting. There's some beautiful art that has been produced on this planet, beautiful literature. There's so many things, children, puppies, animals. There's so many things on this planet. What a wonderful world. There's beautiful things if you're willing to look at it and not always looking at the negative. I think that's my number one thing that I would say for healing depression is the stinking thinking. They call it cognitive behavioral therapy, and I'm going to call it stinking thinking. Please just be aware of how often you think negative, icky thoughts all day long. How could you even want to be in your own head? It's depressing, okay? Start thinking of things, looking around for the good. I say this every day to the people that I work with. I say, you know what? Don't look at what you don't want. Look at the things that you do want in life. And have you ever had the chance to think about those things? If you haven't, start creating it now. You can change that depression. There is hope. My name is Holly Davis. I'm a counselor here in Las Vegas. My number is 702-626-9400. My website is www.goodmedicineranch.com. I have a blog. I write a lot. And that's very therapeutic. I write when I'm down. That's always been my go-to. Or I talk, very chatty. Talk to other people. If you're feeling down, find somebody to talk to. Maybe reevaluate your life and create some new things in your life that you want to do. Do you feel less depressed today now?
Find something that you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
And then just delve into it, whatever it is. It might be books, it might be a movie, it could be music. Music is soothing to the soul. We've heard that ever since we've been little. I have found many things over the years that's helped me fight the times that I felt really down, and some of those things I've just mentioned. Reading, love to read. I'll read 15 novels in 6 months, stuff like that, or I'll listen to music, or I'll watch something that I really like. Stay away from negative people.
Absolutely. Well,
boy, that's a biggie.
It is, but you said something that was even more pertinent. The most important thing that we can say about depression on this program, you nailed it, is don't try to do this alone.
Yeah.
No man is an island. We can't do it alone. So get some help, and there is help available. There's treatment available for depression. I'm Holly Davis, and this is Good Medicine. Join us next week because we're going to continue to talk about some treatment. We're going to have some special guests and give you some information on some things, some places to go and do when you're stuck in depression. And you can also look on my website, www.goodmedicineranch, for more of that information. Some resources.
I am so glad we met you and asked you to do this show, because I think you're providing a service that is very, very worthy of what the station is all about, and that's giving back to the community and trying to help as many people as we can. Good job, Holly.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure, truly. Truly. Thank you. Peace.